Hi, good evening wherever you are. Whatever it is that you're doing, I want to say good evening, good morning, good midnight, whatever it is. It's good to be with you once again, myself and my co-host Freddie Kissoon. And it's a good thing. Today I started feeling a little Christmassy, and the reason for that, lots of traffic along these banks. People have been calling me to check on the cameras and so on to see what's happening. I think very late the bridge authorities were opening it on a 4-lane headed from the east bank to the western side, West Demerara. So you know that you're in Christmas whenever you see the traffic that horrendous. And expect it to get a little worse in the coming days because this is what normally happens. But it's a good sign after a couple of years in which we had a pandemic and elections and so on. People really trying to get out there, trying to live the life, which is a good thing. And me feeling a little Christmassy, although the colors are a little sober today. I looked at a couple of things, not only traffic in all over Georgetown, but I think the government has announced that there's going to be a new national ID card. It's not going to replace the one that GCOM has issued, but it's going to contain a chip inside, which is going to be linked to GRA, and it's probably going to have a blood group and all kind of things in it. So if anything happens with you, it's going to be some mechanism to check with your blood and so on. So we're going high tech, yes. Today, Vice President Jagdeo would have had a press conference too, and one of the things really struck a chord in me, which is one. Why isn't the opposition turning up or be anxious to turn up at the COI into the 2020 election that's currently ongoing? Some explosive revelations coming out of that. And he raised a valid point, which is what I've always been saying. Here is a golden opportunity for the other side, for the opposition, who's been claiming rigged elections as well, to make a case for themselves while the court cases and so are ongoing. You have an opportunity to turn up, and Mr. Jagdeo would have said very clearly, if you have evidence of the Russians in Guyana and whatever else it is, Katius and Comrade Ramzatan of the Alliance for Change, one of the coalition partners or coalition main partner, would have been in a perfect position to turn up at the COI to give their evidence. Here it is that you have an opportunity while you're not there. And that is in line of what we want to discuss tonight. We will be opening the lines tonight. We want to talk about the quality of our leadership. We want to talk, maybe I would ask Freddie Kissoon, my co-host, good night to you, sir. Maybe you could jump off the ball right up after you make your comments, and we could talk about a couple of things. I looked at Mr. Jagdeo today, and I was wondering, I thought to myself, this is a guy that took over Guyana. How do you characterize Jagdeo? In which place in the history of Guyana would he be from where he was to his coming off after his 2 terms, and then he came back into the picture in a very big way, played a huge role in that 2020 elections. Who's going to write the history, Freddie Kissoon? What kind of history are we going to be writing about? What could we be seeing? What could we be talking about? Over to you, Freddie.
Thanks, Leonard. For those of you who are looking at us, tonight is open night, meaning you can call in and give us your complaints, whatever's on your mind. Last week, the calling program, Leonard had his business to attend to, and our first call was a man who said the government, I don't know if it's the previous government or this government, has established a housing scheme in Hostelling without a road leading to the scheme. Now, I don't think he's lying. Anybody could check that, but Leonard, how could you open a scheme? Humans are living there. We have 2 rainy seasons. School children live there, and there's no road.
I don't want to make excuse for the government, Freddie, because when I listened to that, I watched it, and let me tell you this. So there's 2 sides to look at it. I remember a senior government official, I asked him why y'all don't build proper roads. I asked him that. I was very upset with some roads that were breaking up after a couple more. And he says, Gildarie, let me tell you very clear. When you have $10 million and you got 10 roads to do you take $10 million and build a proper road, or do we build 10 roads? We rehabilitate 10 roads. He said that's one scenario there. I don't really so subscribe to him, but I listen to him. The other thing is, I was paying very close attention as a reporter to when those schemes start popping up. I think the Grove Diamond was the first big one that really came up. Then you had Parfait Harmony was the next one. When these things came into the picture, the people wanted house lots badly. Now, they didn't have money to make up the roads, so you had to make a choice. I remember living in an area at Parfait there with my house. And for months and I think over 2 years, the road was not good. We had to beg and eventually they put some money aside. But these are some of the factors that would come for roads not being made up. It does not excuse the fact that if you have more than a decade that somebody is living in a housing scheme, that you don't have proper road or lights or water or the necessary infrastructure. But I just wanted to share that.
Well, just in case you don't know the number, it's 231-2982. And then you can call him Gildarie's number. Gildarie will tell you what's his number. But Leonard, in the meantime, you're waiting for a call. Something happened this week. And I want to know how the average citizen in the world and the average citizen in Guyana could accept that. When I read this thing, it formed the basis of my column in Today Kaicho. A young lad, a 16-year-old lad, the woman gave him employment. And he and his friend robbed and killed his employer. The woman has 2 children. This woman gave him a job. He was 16. In most countries of the world, you cannot publish the name of an underage person who's charged with a criminal offense, including murder. But in the United States, they make a judgment call whether they will go with it, try him as an adult or try him as... But once he attained the age of 18 and he enters the court with that charge, then he's in open court and the reporters... This guy killed a woman, murdered her, and at age 25, he appeared in court this week. And
this is in Guyana?
Yes, and under the Juvenile Delinquency Act, that's what the judge said. I haven't checked. Even at 25, you cannot name him.
I don't agree with that.
I wanted to name him. I know his name. I know where he lives in Helena, Mahaica. But the question is, they will charge me for contempt of court.
Yes.
I don't mind being charged for contempt of court, but I don't think I should have to look for a lawyer. I don't think I should have to pay for a lawyer, and I don't mind being fined, but I don't think I want to face it.
I think that's wrong. Maybe the magistrate or whoever.
The judge.
I'm gonna ask a judge or somebody.
It's all over the papers.
Yeah, but the court cannot tell you that man is a teenager. He cannot be a teenager at 25.
They said when he was charged as a juvenile, and you cannot publish his name. I don't know if they're carrying it, they're continuing with it, that he was charged for murder as a juvenile. So though he reached 25, he was charged. This thing is so sickening. It's the basis of my column today. But there is more to it than that. Guess how much years this man got? The judge said, I think it's Judge Barlow, the judge said that based on the sentencing guideline for juveniles, he entered court as 25. He pleaded guilty at 25 years of age. He was in jail at 25 years of age.
No, yes, good.
Under the sentencing guideline, she gave him 8 years. But 8 years or 6 years, because a year is 9 months.
Well, that's correct.
And then the judge, in addressing the court, asked for him to be trained in something, and based on his behavior, he could be proper release. If this man didn't plead guilty, I think he should have been hanged. This man killed a mother of 2, and we, the nation, we are prevented from knowing his name. He will serve 6 years, and The judge said he should receive training in mason, carpentry, and with good behavior, she like reports on him every 2 years to determine if he could be released early. This is just one hell of a crazy country and a tragic country. For the facts, you can read my column today.
I will
So he killed a woman, and we can't know who he is, Gildarie.
This has been something that I think in my years in the media has always been a bone of contention. Whenever the courts would rule or the judge or the magistrate give decisions, Freddie Kissoon, those decisions are taken based on the merits of the case. So your case, you might kill a man,
He
right?
pleaded guilty, that's the thing.
Yeah, but your case in which, so let's say that man, I think I think the point I'm trying to make is that every single case that you have in court is different from the other because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
A man who kills in the bush over drinking, drink some rum and he did something is different from if a man deliberately things. So the jail sentences, the one may be manslaughter.
I argue that in my column today.
So it's going to be, but it will be interesting. I'm interested
6
to know.
years for murder, robbery and murder.
That is something, and I remember when I think it was Justice Navendra Singh would have been given some extremely hefty sentences. There was some hue and cry about that, and that ended up till up to the Caribbean Court of Justice, and I think the lowered for that girl. The girl that was the teenager girl whose mother killed her, they lowered the sentences. I think the lady got low sentence, and the boyfriend walked. But these are things that you're gonna see. It gets people angry. At the end of the day, justice is the one that really feel. But there's a call coming in right away. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good night.
Good night. Just lower the volume, please. Your volume on your phone or something.
Okay.
Thank you. You have to take it off completely, or we're gonna cut you off. Yes, go ahead.
Good night.
Yes.
Mr. Freddie and
Gildarie, yes.
good night, sir. Happy
Good night.
birthday to Mr.
Good night.
Gildarie.
Thank you, sir.
How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. I would like to make a contribution about a COI. The election COI.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very important topic I want to speak about. The COI now, like how I've seen it, right? Like, I don't know how Freddie might be able to understand what's saying. But this COI now, like, the people them would do the crime, they don't want to face the time.
Well, it's not a criminal proceeding, but it is to bring the truth out so the people could ascertain. Everybody had a version, so the people need answers, and there are a lot of questions surrounding the 20. But with regards to criminal charge, a number of people would have been charged with regards to right. But I understand what you're saying. Well, go right ahead. Continue.
Well, what I'm saying is that this lady, Miss Myers, we saw she on the 4th of March in 2020 when she this time was the foreign affairs minister. What's her name?
Cummins, Dr. Cummins. She's a medical doctor.
Yeah. She's now the foreign observer.
No, be careful. Miss Myers, for some reason or another in her mind, likes to sue people. So please withdraw that remark that you see her chasing out people.
But they're on live stream.
Okay.
I have evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you saw videos of something happening, but go right ahead. What is the point?
The point is that we need to criminalize these people, man. We do nastiness, and this thing could never done. When you have an election, you have to do clean.
It is that 20. I always say it has changed my life. It has left a very profound effect on my whole psyche. But let me tell you this: for the sake of Guyana and the history and the recording of history, and for justice for those people, for us, and this is a point I'm trying to make. we should never ever in the history of this country have a repeat of the 2020. No politicians.
You was one of the backbone. You and this long-haired guy from GTNT.
No, he's not GTNT, Mr. Dr. Yog Mahathir. But
I used to be on field. I gotta go to work. I was the pandemic at the same time too.
yes,
And I used to be on the Facebook all the time. I was what you were going on.
Yes, right.
You used to there and what you were going on. This is someday. This is 2020, 2nd of March to September, October the 4th or wherever.
August the 2nd.
August the 2nd.
Yes.
Someday the Chinese could never forget.
Yes, but we should, as a people in this country, sir, in this country, we should never ever tolerate it. We should never allow any executive, any appointed member, no politician to ever get away with it. And I agree with you that there has to be some kind, there have to be some kind of laws. There got to be some kind of thing that is going to hold these people and jail them for years to come. They should never take theirs and pass people like that.
Make an example.
That's correct. I agree with you.
There's a huge outcry. Now, Charandas abused a woman in India. That was wrong. That cannot be accepted. Charan is my friend. I apologize on behalf of Charan. Charan has been recalled. But those very people that criticizing Charan and look what he did. People went to steal a whole country, not just abuse a lady. And those very people who out and talking, writing letters about Charan, they have said nothing about persons in this country who tried to steal a whole country and make it their personal property.
All right, sir. So thank you. Any other points?
Listen, sir. One more point.
Sure.
Listen to the no confidence motion when Mr. Figueroa, Figueroa.
No, you can't call the man that.
What you call the man?
Yes, Mr. Figueroa. Yes, sir.
If you call, no, wait. What did you call the man? You have to withdraw it. You have to withdraw that.
Yes.
You can't do that.
Right. So at the end of the day, I agree. Those things. There's so many things that happen leading up to that elections and after that, and as a people, we are not going to sit here and I think there's a lot of strong-minded. Our people are very resilient.
He was an AFC. He was a part of the AFC.
Yes, I was.
Then there was when in 2011, the one change. Uncle Freddie the one change.
Mm-hmm.
I know Uncle Freddie used to be on the city market speaking to a man named no good. The PM man name.
No. So you're going to get. So be careful. Be careful. Make your point, but don't. We are going to get sued. Nobody knows who you are.
Okay.
Somebody's going to call and say TBN, the company, broadcasted libelous things about.
All right. Any other points? Any other points?
No. We withdraw that remark and we disassociate ourselves from it.
All right. Sir.
Okay.
Any other points?
Okay.
No.
Thank you very much for coming through.
The next point is.
No. We got to go now.
We got to go.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Freddie is quite right, folks. Let's make it respectful to everybody. I think we could make our points, but let us do it because remember, this is a day anybody could sue now and allow
and they want to sue to shut you up.
But we mature people. Let us do that. But the caller did indeed have some very valid points, and let me tell you this: there's a message that came through here to our 637-1071. If you're overseas, you could WhatsApp me and WhatsApp call us. We're going to allow that, so I know how it happens. But good night. As a concerned Guyanese citizen, I'm still waiting on the president to announce what are the other incentives that he promised the health workers, but have not announced same as yet. So let's see this other call that comes in. Yes. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Kissoon and Mr. Gildarie.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Kissoon, it seems that the banks are listening. Because I've now found out that Republic Bank, that thing that you don't like to talk about them charging money for changing checks is now in effect there too.
Yeah, stay on the phone. When you finish making a comment, stay on the phone.
Okay.
You finish?
Yeah,
You know, you know,
if you don't have a bank account with them,
yeah, I know, I know. That is completely unacceptable in this country. That is completely wrong. And the government and the financial institutions have to stop it. I'll give you I'll provide you with two dimensions of my take on this. One is that we have no organization in this country to look after the interests of working people. Do you know the bank is charging people when you go to cash a check, but a minibus owner cannot raise his fee. The bank could raise their fee, but a minibus driver cannot raise his fee. That's one. I'm not a supporter of the behavior of minibus driver. I'm supporter of the rule of law and equality. If a minibus driver say, I am increasing my fee, it's the same thing the banks are doing, but the minibus people are lower class people. Then there's another aspect of that. I'm coming to the bank. Could you lower your volume? We're getting a feedback here.
I don't have anything on. I'm just
okay. I'm just hearing some background. No. The other thing is, sand trucks cannot be on the streets of Georgetown after 6 a.m. The same law apply to container trucks. Container trucks the past 5 years have killed 5 persons on this road. Container trucks are all over this. When the police stop them, the driver make a call to the business place, and that's it. That's working people have no rights. Now, the bank cannot do that. The bank, maybe legally they could do it, but so are the minibus drivers. What I think the bank should do, they have an obligation to the person who has a deposit. When you write a check, you can surcharge the owner of the checkbook, the depositor, but you can't surcharge charge the person who's going to cash a check. These things are so wrong in Guyana. Look, sir, I hope you hear my point.
What will happen very shortly is that if a man has to pay me now, and I don't have an account at a particular bank, I'll refuse to take his check. He can pay me with a check that I'm banking with.
Man, that is so wrong. That is so wrong. John Jones give you a check for you to cash at Republic Bank or Scotia Bank. That is the bank that John Jones has his money. How could you refuse John Jones' check?
I'm not sure. I don't want to believe what you're telling me there, but yeah. It is unbelievable. That is ridiculous.
So much unbelievable things go on in this.
Well, I'm gonna have to raise this point back again. I'm gonna tell you what happened to a bank and me recently. All right, caller, thank you for coming through. Good. Bye bye. Freddie Kissoon, I took my directors to a particular bank because we had to make a transaction.
I hear crazy things about the banks all the time.
And the bank, about 3 weeks before or 4 weeks before, we did a transaction. Let me take this call. I come back and tell you this interesting story. Good evening, caller, you on the air?
Yes, I'm on the air.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead. You sound happy.
Yeah. Well, we'd like to be to President idea.
Yes, sir.
Talk a bit slow.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel that Guyanese who are residents overseas are on the voters list, right? And they can come to Guyana and vote. The next question I want to ask, why is it that Guyanese living overseas who are residents overseas, why is it that they would have to come and spend 2 years in Guyana before they can apply for the exemption?
All right. You want me to answer that now, or you want me to answer that when you finish off the air?
Yeah, we can finish and I can listen to you on the
All right, let's stand by. Okay, so let me ask you a question. So there's a number of different pensions that you have in Guyana, and Freddie Kissoon would back me up on this. If you work at, let's say Starbucks News, I'm just calling it a company, and you entitled to a pension if they have a pension plan. The government has an old age pension. No, I understand. No, I'm making a point.
Let him what pension he's talking about?
He's talking about the old age pension, the 28,000 or something like that. You're talking about the 28 or 30,000.
You have to come back.
For example, in the United States, and they want to apply for the pension, they would have to come back and be living over here 2 years before they can apply.
No, that's not old age pension. That's NIS pension. Old age pension. That's old age pension. NIS pension, you're entitled to it even if you're overseas.
I'm not sure about that, but I do know that
He's talking about old age pension.
Yeah. If you're living overseas, would it be a reasonable thing if the government is giving it to the people over here? I'm not sure. I'm just asking the question. That you're still living overseas and entitled to that pension? Because it does, I think it's an old age pension, right?
It's old age pension you're talking about. NIS. You
It's a
can apply
different-
for it.
right,
You
right.
can- once you meet the amount of requirement for NIS. That is what he's talking about, the old age pension.
I know that a family of mine had to come back here and she was waiting just more than a year before they actually get it. I'm not sure if they changed it. And so your contention is that even if you're living overseas, if you reach the age of whichever age it is, it's 65? 65. You're supposed to get it automatically whether you want it in your bank account. You don't have to come here. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Right, I think that's what you really said. Freddie and I would seek some guidance into this, but I think that the reason
How could you get old age pension? They're giving it to people who are living in Guyana to enable, to assist them in their existence in Guyana.
But that is the issue that I have. I'm not
why
sure.
should you give-
Why would you want to give that to overseas to
living-
somebody? It was designed. I think it was designed
To
for
help
people who
old
live
people, senior citizens,
living in
not old
Guyana.
people, senior citizens.
I'm not sure legally whether you could challenge it because I think this is the direction that you could go in. But I think it was designed, to my knowledge, to those people who live in Guyana
To help them live in Guyana.
And there's so many more things that you could attach to that. I hope I've answered the question.
Yeah, but then, you have answered the question so far. But then what I'm saying is that although this person could be living overseas, that money could be contributed to somebody, to families over here if they really don't need it.
Yes, I got what you're saying there. All right, but it is.
What
I
he's
think-
saying, the old age, sorry,
We'll
senior
repeat it
citizen.
back again for the sake of the call, the people who are listening.
You said,
Caller, could you kindly repeat?
My contention?
yes. You said, Gildarie and I are saying that the money for the senior citizen is to help them who are living in Guyana. Then
Sometimes the person living overseas doesn't need for that money over here. But then you have relatives over here, and if it is right for the Guyanese to be entitled to that pension, well then why is it that you would have to come here and spend 2 years?
I don't agree with you. So they're living overseas, they collect the pension and give it to people who need it?
No,
Is that
he's
what you're
saying that if you live overseas, let me stop it right here. The government, to my knowledge, and I will seek some clarity on this, came up with that pension. It wasn't always wrong. There was the only thing that you were getting is the NIS or whatever pension you were getting for whichever workplace that you were working with, if you have that. So it was only the NIS, and the government came up with this old age pension a couple of years back. It came, I think, sometime around the 2000s or so, to help alleviate, some families who can't just afford on the NIS. There's the other side of the picture too. Thousands of people are not even getting NIS, so there's only the old age pension that you're getting. But it cannot be. I find it unacceptable that if you're living abroad that
it can't be so.
It can't happen. I don't think so.
You can't give people living outside old age pension. I don't think we should say
maybe in a couple of years. But
senior citizen pension.
Our country is limited in dollars.
No, senior citizen pension is to people living in Guyana, so
right.
Plain and simple. Period.
All right, thank you. But I'm going to seek some clarity on that, though. It's a good question. Maybe in years to come they could give it to anybody, any Guyanese.
Okay, thank you, sir.
There has to be some, some ground rules to that. Thank you. Interesting part. But Freddie, I just want to
You
say,
got
I
any
don't.
message there?
Yes, let me see the message. Somebody is asking, good night, do you know who rigged the 2020 elections? No, I don't. That's why there's a COI. And I think Freddie don't know either. Mr. Leonard, good night. The government need to start issuing 10 years passport to Guyanese people, so Guyanese can have longer time for renewing their passport. It's something to think
I
about.
agree with that. It was 10 years before.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's 5 years now, right?
Yeah.
Good. Hi, good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening, fellas. Mr. Kissoon, Mr. Gildarie.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, guys?
Well, pretty good. It's good.
I
Christmas
had a
time.
problem here, and I told the person that I'm going to speak to Mr. Kissoon, and the person told me, I'm not calling no name, okay?
Yes.
You could go to the hell where you want. Listen, my concern is this. NIS was by me because I didn't pay 2 months contribution. I'm self-employed. So I visited 3 doctors in Guyana, and they did not help me. I had to go to the US, and I got help over there. So when I came back, the NIS inspector was here, and the guy told me that I didn't pay 2 months contribution. So I showed him my results for whatever I did over there. And I went into NIS. They told me that I have to go to get affidavit. And I went and I get one. I went into NIS. The lady up at NIS told me I have to go to these doctors and she write on a paper, give me the medical certificate. And I went to one of the doctors that I visited in Guyana. I spent $300,000 to $400,000.
Wow.
When I went to this doctor, one of them, the receptionist downstairs told me that the doctor say I have to pay $3,500 to see her, just to tell her what the lady at the NIS head office told me. And then I would have to pay additional $2,000 for she to give me the medical certificate. Mr. Kissoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is this? We don't have nobody to stand up for it. All we paying our income tax, we paying our NIS. You tell me a doctor in this country that I paid $75,000 to last year. I went back to get a report from them, the medical certificate, and along with the receipts. And you tell me because I went there just asked that I have to pay $5,000.
No, you shouldn't. Stay on the line.
This is unbelievable.
I'm going to call you and tell you who this is.
Yes. And we could take that doctor to the medical, to the Guyana Medical Council. There is the Legal Practitioners Committee for lawyers who rob people and lawyers who do things that are wrong. And there is the Guyana Medical Council. We could give us the name, text the name to get that. My phone number is 614.
I know.
Right, text me.
Listen to this one. I told my sister I have to get on to the doctors over in the US because I need this information. You know, lo and behold, within 1 week time, I don't get all the medical certificate and all the receipts that the money that I spend over there.
You're talking to somebody who mind is overflowing with the receipts of these wrong things my whole life. So
you know these doctors in Guyana, you know when you go to them, they don't give you a receipt if you don't tell them. They just tell you, look.
Yeah.
I'm going to explain this thing to you off the phone.
Yeah, you should. I thank you for coming across. I can make a statement after you go on and listen to it carefully.
Listen, I wait Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, waiting for yards to see what we're really going on.
Well, something that's come out me mouth, sometime and Freddie mouth. We don't. I think sometimes he's not responsible, me not responsible. This
You know, you guys take care. I watching this program every day. You start. I went to New York. I don't miss one program. I miss it. I watch it the next day.
All right, my buddy.
Thanks
you
a lot.
Thank you very much.
Stay in touch.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Freddie Kissoon, I don't know what to tell you. What my thing with the doctors in Guyana, I can tell you about doctors especially, and I told you about what happened to my kids.
I know.
With the scoliosis. And I believe the doctors are being protected. There's a whole clique that are protecting each other, and I have friends among them. and they're decent people. Among the lawyers as well, they're protecting each other. And if you want to go after one of them, they are going to protect you. Hold on, Freddie. Let it hold on. This is a nonsense that happens when doctors and professionals who sworn oaths to do good by the profession, when they decided that money trumps everything. That is what happens in this country, ladies and gentlemen. We got to do better than this. We got to demand, and we got to put them to the sword as well. I mean, kill them. Good evening, caller. Good evening. Hello. Good evening. Well, I think we lost that call. Freddie, I would like to hear your thoughts about it. Are the legal practitioners... Okay. Good evening.
Is it the same song and a different DJ that gets it all the time?
You want to talk to a DJ?
No, is it the same song that gets it all the time? Same song, same music and a different DJ all the time?
I don't know what you would be tuning into by, but we talking about this thing over and over. You see, if you keep hitting the nail on the head sometime or the other, it got to
What
go
is he
down.
talking about?
No, is the same song or a different DJ all the time?
All right, go ahead. What's
Nothing
it?
will change that, right?
No, but how do you do? Do you shut your mouth and sit in your hands? What do you do?
No. The same song.
No, you have to bother with that, sir. If we as citizens of this country see things wrong, you don't sit down there. Many people who don't have a voice.
Let him explain himself.
No, he's saying that we
I know,
keep
I know.
talking about the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But go ahead. Expand. Tell us what's on your mind.
No, the reason why I can't expand so long because I get enough minutes in the phone to talk so long. But in the same song,
You don't have a cell phone or you don't have a cell phone or a landline?
Yeah, I'm a cell.
And you don't have the amount of credit if you talk too long.
Yes. No,
All right, but I think if I'm getting a point very clearly, we cannot sit still, and if there's a problem, you might not see immediate action, sir, but you have to keep talking about it. The politicians and the powers that be are going to wake up sometime or the other. Understand?
No, the politicians, not politicians. I will call back and say I'm a good time again.
Thank you very much, but I get your point what you're saying. Sometimes you get tired. Yes, thank you very much. But you know, Freddie, I want to agree with that caller. That caller has a point. Sometimes we see these things. Why are we keeping complaining about NIS? Why do we keep complaining about the police? Look, somebody sent me a message here. Look, Mr. Gildarie, Mr. Kissoon, I'm living on the east coast of Demerara. And every night at 7, the Sparna police station has roadblocks and holding up the traffic for hours. Please, guys, thank you very much. Mr. Commissioner of Police, Mr. Commissioner of Police, Mr. Traffic Chief, you guys pay attention. Why is it every night? Why not on the East Bank, wherever it is? I feel like you're in abusing mood tonight.
Abuse.
Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Am I on today?
Yes.
Show?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so I just want to make 2 points.
Yeah,
We listen. Go ahead.
All right, so when you look at academic year, it's a whole year. When you look at one's birth anniversary before you can celebrate it's a year, what is it is mind-boggling. And I indeed read Mr. Kissoon's article today, as I usually every day. And it is mind-boggling that after you would have committed an offense, you would have been convicted. You go and you call a year 9 months. What an injustice to the victims who have been waiting to get justice. As in the case of that 8 year, it has been reduced to 6.
Stay on the line.
Yes. Then secondly, we have Mr. Gildarie did ask a very important question in the beginning. He said, how do we assess Dr. Jagdeo's presidency? I know that Mr. Kissoon would have written so many things, and I understand probably they were in context when these things happen, King Kong and so on. It will be interesting to know what his evaluation is of Dr. Jagdeo, looking back at things and how events would have unfolded, his whole play in the winning of the 2020 elections for the PPP and so on. What is his view now was compared with, that he had then at that time? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Are you staying on the line?
No, I can just listen to the response.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Freddie, go ahead.
Well, my response is going to take up too many times. He's asked me a very complex question.
Well, I think the
but
point
he's asked me a question he's asked me a question that I've had to face
Oh.
the past 2.5 years. Freddie, look what these people have done to you, etc.
It's good. We can have to take. It's a people's night tonight. We have to take the calls. Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening, Freddie and Gildarie.
Yes, sir.
I'm just calling to find out, my dad is overseas. Yes.
Go ahead. We're listening.
Yes, he worked with the estates and he was getting his benefits, his NIS benefits, and he go overseas. But his money used to go to the bank, at the Baroda Bank, and he used to carry his book to update it. But then suddenly I went to the bank and they said they can't update the book anymore.
Which book? The bank book?
Yes, his bank book. And they said when Apnu go in, they say they stop everything.
I don't understand.
I don't understand what you're saying.
The stop updating the bank book?
He work with the estates.
No, I understand that.
A bank book don't be updated. A bank book has a time where the account goes dormant. I don't understand what you mean by
No,
updated.
he's sending his life insurance to the NIS.
And the NIS puts it in the bank like
So that
me.
keeps their account
Like me.
active.
Yes,
That keeps their account
the book
active.
to the updated.
Oh.
And when I yes.
And they stop saying that they did not updating the book anymore because of what Apnu says.
Yes.
I don't buy that. Something is wrong.
No,
here.
hold on, sir. I don't understand. I have a bank book. I don't understand what he means by update.
No, well, okay. So his daddy lives overseas.
Right.
Yeah,
He has the book here. The pension goes into the book. He carries the book
Pension
every so
goes-
often to update the book. Look, I have 20,000 went in last week. Next month 20,000 go in. So he carries it in 3 months, and they update everything. The bank, he's saying, tell him you can't update the book anymore. That's my understanding. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Wait. The NIS sends the money to the bank, right?
Bank account.
It means you could only send money to a bank in an account. So it means your father has an account at the bank.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
Good. You are entitled to ask the bank for an update, or the bank, depending on the bank, they send the update through the mail or if you're online. So the bank cannot, you were talking now about information about your account. I don't understand your point, because a bank has to give a depositor, that's a customer, an update on their account. So anybody could go into a bank, produce their ID card and their account number and say, I'd like to find out what is the sum at the moment in my account, etc. That is how banks operate.
Okay.
Your father has an account at the bank.
Yes.
So your father is entitled to ask the bank or go into the bank or call the bank to find out, could you tell me, I haven't made a deposit so far, the NIS has deposited my money. Could you tell me what's the standing of my account? How could they tell him no? That is what customers do. I can't understand how a bank could tell a depositor, we can't give you any information on your account. So you got your wires crossed there. For one
Let us know. You going back to the bank and ask to speak to the manager and ask them to give you a reason. And at the end of the show, I'm going to tell you what something that played out at the bank. And I asked to see the manager and what the manager told me. Because I asked him if it is the bank's decision or it is the Bank of Guyana decision. And what he answered was amazing.
All right.
But does it?
Take my cell number and call me and let me give you my email address. My cell is 614-5927. 27. I will then call you and give you my email address. You give me the information, I will take it up with the bank.
Yeah, because after the COVID, he couldn't travel, and then he kind of sick now, so he couldn't move, but he sent his life certificate to NIS and Gaisuku.
No, we're talking on two different things. Your father is a customer at the bank. Gildarie is a customer at the bank. I am a customer at the bank. I could get my from the bank how much is my account. Of course, I have to produce my ID card. The bank cannot refuse to tell a customer how much money they have in the bank. Anyway, call me. Let's go on to another caller.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. I don't understand what happened here.
No, the wires are crossed there. You can't
Yeah,
hear.
something is wrong there.
You can't
in the
send money
meantime-
to an account. The person has to have an account.
In the meantime, I'm going to ask our people to just hold. Let me just read what I think. Guys, please lobby for the authorities to have a plan B for the Harbour Bridge. I agree with that. There's another bridge coming in a couple of years. Good evening, Mr. Gildarie. I would like to report on corruption at Ogle Airport. The taxi drivers of the yellow cab, they're robbing unsuspecting passengers. $3,000 from Ogle to Georgetown. Overpricing elsewhere. That's not the price. They all band together to overcharge. Over 14 cars are allowed to work there. They don't increase the numbers. Well, this is an allegation. I don't know. I'm going to put it to the authority. Right. Isn't everyone was it? What is okay? This person, I'm just going to put it in our terms here, our words. The person is asking what is going to be done about the policemen that beg at the western side of the Demerara Harbour Bridge every single day. I don't know. I think I explained that already too. Merry Christmas to you, Freddie, and the people of the beautiful Guyana. Why is the legislative branch of government did not come out and condemn the rigging in Guyana? The legislative branch of Guyana. This is.
The legislative branch cannot come out and comment on
No, they can't.
partisan political.
That is a lawmaking in this parliament.
Let's answer the phone.
Why private doctors and lawyers are not paying the share of taxes in Guyana. That's a story by itself. Good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I just want to throw some light on the LIS.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yeah, go right ahead. We're listening. Go ahead. We're listening, sir. Go ahead.
If you're a Canadian or an American, and you're getting pension in those two countries, how could you go to Guyana and get a pension also? It's not old age pension. Only
There's a lot of
LIS.
noise in the background. There's a lot of noise in the background. It's affecting the quality of the call.
If you're listening to a phone, please turn it off.
You hear there's a lot of noise.
Sir, listen to me. You have to turn off the phone that you listen or whatever you're listening to for you to be able to be clear. You know, we don't hear you clear. And you have to turn it off right now or else we're going to end the call. My apologies.
Okay.
Yes.
Turn down your phone volume or your TV volume.
Okay. You did call to go right ahead. The question that you were asking, I think the person is gone. My apologies. He's making a valid point. Why, if you're living overseas, what was the question?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was trying to
There was
ask.
too much noise.
You don't think it's fair that if you're getting pension overseas, that you would want to come claim old age pension here? Freddie Kissoon, do you know that the government has given lands to a lot of people who went abroad and live overseas and taking pensions over there and take those lands which is given them to lease to farm here and rent it out at exorbitant sums, and then those monies are being remitted to go overseas? You think that is fair?
No.
You know what thing is happening up in Berbice here? All along Mahaica, Maikoni and so on. People take those lands and government lease them and sell it out for millions and millions of dollars. Mr. President, I sounded like another talk show host. So you guys got to pay attention to that. Why are private doctors, lawyers and dentists not paying the share of taxes in Guyana? I think there was some time that the GRA had tried to clamp down on doctors and lawyers, and I ain't going to tell you what played out there. But a lot of them are owning big houses and so on, and I got a lot of lawyer friends, so Freddie too. They might stop talking to us, but it is what it is. Let me see.
There's a lot of rich people in the country that don't pay taxes. I know for a fact rich people don't pay rates and taxes. That's illegal.
Hi, some doctors working full time at Georgetown Hospital, but them get away doing Them get away during working time and working private and tell you to see them privately. And charging you a whole lot of money. Freddie Kissoon, please get on to Mr. Robbie Rambaran, it is. And this was made thing. So if you go to the hospital, the doctors are working there. And I happen to know that some private hospital, including on the western side almost to the Harbour Bridge, to the Demerara River, some private hospitals have them working there. How come that the medical council, how come that the hospital authorities don't know about this? Because if you turn up at the hospital and the staffers are not there during the day, the hospital doctors are part of the staffing arrangements. Am I not correct, Freddie? So if you're not there during the day and you're elsewhere, how come they don't know about it? The left hand doesn't know. Yeah, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Oh my goodness. Yes, and some people on the board, I understand, somebody sent a message here, some people on the board doing the same thing. So how you will tell a man that walking under you that you can't do it when I'm doing it? Freddie Kissoon, are you serious?
I'm glad.
Ladies and gentlemen, 231-2982, 231-2982. You could call that, or you could call us on WhatsApp if you're overseas, 637-1071. Send those messages.
Rich people don't pay taxes in this country.
Oh yeah?
Rich people.
Oh, you said rich people don't pay?
No, they don't. And they have the means, and then they employ good accountants.
If you see what some people, we get another call coming in, this time on WhatsApp. Go right ahead, sir, you on the air. Hello?
But people listening to the...
yes, go right ahead.
Good evening to you guys.
Good evening, sir. Go ahead, you want to make a point. Yes, we listen to you.
Okay. Based on your programs, I've been looking at the programs of you guys for a while now. And I'm being forced to ask myself, does anybody really care in this country? The amount of complaints ordinary citizens are making in this country, every day, on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, 24/7, you put it how you want it, and nothing is being done. Can you guys answer me this, please? Does anybody really care? The police stopping people at the bridge on the West End, taking money every day. Why aren't we doing anything about it? People are dying in this country. At the Georgetown Hospital, nobody is being held responsible. What are we really doing in this country? When will this nonsense stop?
You know why? I would answer you right here.
Let him finish.
I'm going to answer you. Go ahead.
You guys are doing something good, but you know what is annoying? One thing over and over and over every single day. What is that? And my question to you guys again, does anybody really cares? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so.
Good point.
I wish you guys would respond. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming through, caller. Thank you. Freddie Kissoon, that man is so much on point there.
You sure he didn't put his phone in pause?
You mentioned it, but it's getting worse every day. This is on the western side of the Harbour Bridge. Policemen over the Harbour Bridge. The people are accusing you of taking bribes, that you're shaking them down. And if you guys have any pictures or anything or names of the officers, please send it to us, or the ranks, and let us send it to the Commissioner of Police.
I could understand the roadblocks, the occasional roadblocks. I could understand every 2 months they have a roadblock, but everybody tells me with the Sparring Dam roadblock. You know, why is there a roadblock? And people being stopped at Sparring Dam, only at Sparring Dam, and so often. Now, when there is a criminal development, good, you have a roadblock.
But let me tell you, hold on. You want to look at the reality of it?
You're harassing people.
Parallel to the East Coast Road is the railway embankment. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Logically, that if you want to commit a crime, that you're not going to use Sparring Dam.
You're going to use the railway
So why isn't there a Why is there
Not a parallel roadblock.
Right. Why? So what is the reason for the roadblock?
At Spelling.
I'm asking you, Freddie Kissoon.
What's the reason?
Could you tell me?
I'll give you the answer.
Yeah, please. I'm listening.
I'm much older than you.
Yes.
And I've been fighting for rights my whole life. And then I suddenly discovered, remember when I was telling you about the Greek philosopher that ran out of the bathroom saying, Eureka, Eureka? When I ran out of my shower saying, Eureka, Eureka, I discovered Guyana doesn't have logic and rationality.
Freddie Kissoon. Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Talking about roadblock, I came in the country last Thursday night from New York. Was at the airport in New York at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Only to find a roadblock at Providence Police Station at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's the kind of thing you gotta face with this.
No, I don't have any issues that you have it, that you're going to throw up roadblocks.
It's a frequency of it, you're
It's a
harassing
frequency.
people.
But if you have a
You're harassing
roadblock,
people.
every afternoon at 7 o'clock you put up a roadblock at Spindam, right?
You're harassing people.
You make it a routine. What you have to do, I will put one up at 2 o'clock. But don't expect one to be at 4 o'clock because you put one up at 7 o'clock. But every 7 o'clock you put up one and the height of the traffic. When the traffic is heavy going up the East Coast, it's only 2 roads.
But what are they looking for?
Huh?
What are they looking for?
No, you make it. I'm going to ask you. You make a conclusion. Call it as it, right?
Yeah, but the point is I'm making that if you would have done roadblocks over 6 years or 6 months, you must have some results.
Bro,
What are they looking for?
What they're looking for, that's a big thing.
Yeah, what me answer? And get my mouth
And
in
whatever they're
trouble.
looking for, the police know where to go and find it.
No, they know what they're looking for.
But whatever they're looking for, they know where to go and find it.
All right, then, buddy.
If you've been looking for drugs in this country, the police know where to go and find it.
Yes, I get what you're saying. Thank you very much for coming.
Go in the little village them, and I have a little boy who would have said cocaine in the village, and the little boy them know. In every village, everybody know everything.
Yeah, my brother. The whole country know. If you believe you will take something, always remember that the camera is out all over the place.
Yeah.
And then you can get catch. When you're taking something, you're slipping it into your back pocket, you put it in the driver's license or under the driver's license, it happens. But across the river there with the police there, right.
Place where they wouldn't stop anybody anymore. They stop and check.
But even that, they got to careful how they check in. They got to get, I think Inspector Broncos police got to be with them. They just can't stop, decide they go into Little Diamond and stand in the middle of the road, a car just pull up. But they do it all the time. But that's a nonsense. The traffic chief says something and they go do something else.
So
Hear this nonsense now, Gildarie. Hear this nonsense now. Hear this piece of nonsense now. I call the police and ask them what the process for somebody get a tractor license to drive a tractor. Now, the police told me that if the guy get a tractor license, you got to wait 3 years to apply for a car license. But if you get a car license, you could get the tractor license right away.
Good night. Thank you for coming through. Good night. Freddie Kissoon, this country full of joke.
But it's not solving these problems are not rocket science. The country's population is too small, much too small, for you to be unable, for the state to be unable to deal with NIS problems with the passport. It's too small. One village in India and China is 10 times the population of Guyana. All you have to do, this is what is needed in this country.
Somebody's calling from Friends Guyana. Let me put it under there. Friends Guyana, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
How you doing?
You have to say good evening in French.
You gotta speak up a little more. Speak up a little more.
Bonsoir to you guys.
Okay, good. But you speak a little too low. Could you raise the volume or something?
All right, yes. All right, let me just raise the volume.
Quickly, because we are out of time.
Yes, okay, can you hear me? Yes, I was in Guyana, traveling from Suriname, heading from French Guyana to Suriname to Guyana.
You gotta raise the volume a little. You're very, very low. Okay, good. Go right ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, and on my way to Belladrum Police Station, you know those police there, they stopped me and asked me for my passport.
Uh-huh.
I told them that not every average citizen in Guyana do own the passport.
But why are they stopping you for your passport? And were you faithful enough to didn't you ask them that? You could only ask a person for your passport based on suspicion.
No, but if you're at the border, you ask a passport. Why would you ask a passport in the middle of the country?
In the middle of the country. That's what I want to know. Why they ask for a passport in the middle of the country?
That is supposed to happen. That is wrong.
Not an average.
Did you take the officer's name, the rank's name, or anything?
I didn't want to hold up the minibus. I didn't want to hold up the bus too long, so I didn't have a long conversation with them. But that is really unfair that we are visiting our country and we have to show our passport.
No, it's wrong. It's nonsense. You should have made a note at the time that police officer said that and make a complaint. Look,
but Freddie, context might be everything because Belladrum,
You could ask somebody for their
Belladrum is
passport.
the area where a lot of people smuggling and things like that. So if a lot of people come over through the backtrack, but I'm not sure as to the legality of it. I think that's a
what
question.
people do with committing crime for God?
No.
There's a lot of crime in Georgetown.
They
People don't
use
stop
a
for
road. There's
passport.
one road, and I think it is there's two areas that
And you have to
they
stop and search.
right, but
You ask
you
people
can't
for
just stop and
passport.
start just like that.
No, you
have
can't
to-
even
right.
do that either.
But hear what you're saying.
I'm not too sure what Carla will, when people tune in, will be hearing.
All right, Carl. Any other point? That's it, because we out of time now.
All right, no. Thank you, guys. I've been watching you guys for a very long time, and you are doing a good job, and I compliment you for the work that you are doing.
We appreciate it very much. I want to say good night to the folks over in Friends Guyana and in Brazil and in Suriname and wherever you are. Of course, US and Canada. You guys have been very much in tune with us. And of course, Freddie Kissoon, two things happened today, two things that I must point out to you because unfortunately this thing ran out so quickly. I went to collect my daughter in front of Bishop School today and I was threatened by a weeder. The weeder said for me to move my car because he has a job to do. I cannot park there. And so he continued that. And because he has a job to do, nobody could have gone there to pick up the kids to the school because you have to move your vehicle. You imagine that? The other thing with regards to the bank, I had to go into the bank to do a transaction. The documents that they asked for is the same documents they asked 3 weeks before to put into an account. And so I asked them, but 2 weeks later, why are you asking for the same documents? They said, well, they got to tell me, well, that is the requirement. So I asked to speak to the manager. The manager come and said, is this a requirement of the bank or of the Bank of Guyana or whatever the authority? It says a combination of both. So I said, you put in something that you're not supposed to put in? They said, well, come, you don't need a document anymore. So my question or my observation is that many of these things that we see, these roadblocks, these hurdles, are placed there by our own people to create I'm not saying that the bank, but the bank, I think, just went overboard. And these are things that we need to pay attention to. Why would you want to make it harder for somebody to open an account?
But we
Somebody's
could,
getting
if we
business.
have, I think time has run out. If we have 10 programs like these, like 10 different...
You and I can run mad.
No, if we have 10 programs like these, if we have about 5 civil society groups, instead of talking about oil, instead of talking about oil all the time, and people writing letters with 40 signatures about irrelevant things, if we could have civil society groups, other calling programs like these, it would matter. These things will penetrate the society. But it's just you and I alone. No civil society group bothers with these things.
So these are the little things that affect you across the harbour bridge, the little roadblock that you have of these. So these are things that make people angry.
Tomorrow the papers, you will see the civil society groups writing, oil, and you know what we discovered, that in Eurasia they're getting a bigger oil and people are suffering.
Man, I'm feeling Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. Christmas I'm feeling. So I hope that, yes, there are a lot of news that are coming out. that may sound a little depressing, but there's some good news for this country. But you guys gotta wake up. We gotta start smelling the coffee. Hold our leaders, hold our executives. And I'm talking leaders, it's not only the government. I'm speaking also to the opposition. I'm talking about the PS. I'm talking about the executive of the state corporation. I'm talking about business.
But hold a sec.
Let us hold them to the sword.
Hold a sec, Gildarie. These opposition leaders, when these unconscionable things come up, they never investigated. They don't.
This thing does not bother them. If you see, if I tell you parliamentarians go to parliament, they're taking the duty free, they're selling it out, they're doing all kind of madness. You don't want to listen to that. You want me to tell you more?
No, we can't.
Okay.
Our operator has gone over his time.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen.
Are you abuser of our labor rights, Gildarie? The guy has to go home.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good night. It's good for those callers who came through. We appreciate it very much. It's the little that we could do for this country. We're not being paid for this, but it's always a pleasure coming out here 3 times a night, 3 times per week, every evening of those 3 days, to be able to listen, to be able to share our views, to be able to be with guests, people in Guyana who matters, to be able to make this country a little better. That's what our job entails. I hope that you do your part too, wherever you are. There are many things that we could do to open up our mouth, to raise our voices, open our eyes, and raise those objections whenever we see wrong things being carried out. I think it's as old saying, Freddie, I'd close with this. It is when good people sit and shut their mouth. That is a travesty of justice. I put it in my own words. We should not just sit by and just allow things to happen. Good evening. I want to say thank you very much to our very patient operator there, Nigel. You have a pleasant rest of the night, folks.